Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers at the voice of college football. I'm Adam Lamparello, here along with my fantastic co-host, Gabriel Pickup. We have a fantastic show for you tonight. First, we're going to start with some updates from Gabe, and then we're going to talk about Athan Kaliakmanis and preview him for the 2025 season. So, Gabe, you got some updates? Let's take it away.
Absolutely, Adam. Here with the third rendition of Pick Updates, and this is going to be a long one. So bear with us. You'll hear some very good news, though, because it's all positive. All right, let's get a move on. Of course, there's a helicopter going by. As I say that, I am in the beautiful outdoors of Pennsylvania. So, first, and possibly the best news here, 4-star offensive tackle Tyler Duell has agreed to be a Rutgers Scarlet Knight, graduating in 2026. That is a loud helicopter. 6'6", 280 from Westchester, Pennsylvania. I am a resident of Westchester, New York, and that is spelled as one word, and that is my truth. Westchester is one word, not two. Sorry, Westchester, Pennsylvania, folks. But you want to hear this, Adam? This is very impressive to me. Tyler Duell, offensive tackle, is the number 6th ranked class of 2026 prospect in Pennsylvania. Second top 10 prospect in PA to commit to Rutgers in 2026, joining number 9 ranked edge rusher Wadik Collier. And the only school with more in the top 10 recruits is, unfortunately, Penn State. But we're in the right direction for neighboring out-of-state territories.
Well, this is fantastic. We need people on the offensive line, and a 4-star from Pennsylvania. You got to give credit to Coach Schiano and his staff. Now, I'll tell you, if this brings me up to the point I've been making that you refuse to acknowledge. 2026 is going to be that magical season. And this is proof positive. We are headed for a magical season in 26. Fantastic, fantastic addition to the Rutgers football team. What else you got?
Yeah, so, I mean, I agree with Jason here. It was a huge recruiting weekend. We shot up from number 33 ranked to number 20 ranked recruiting program in the nation. Moving on, because and by the way, he was our 5th 4-star recruit of 2026.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for a while. We need to get those 4-star recruits. It's going to create a domino effect.
Yeah.
Got to give credit to Coach Schiano. Like Jason O said, we got another big recruiting weekend coming up, and Schiano has a good plan for his visits. He says kids seem to be loving their official visits at Rutgers. Well, Coach Schiano and his staff, congratulations. Let's keep chopping.
Yes, sir. Chop, chop. Moving along here. And 4-star recruits, they are, in my opinion, that's where the dimes start when it comes to recruits. 3 stars are, you'll take them. 2 stars and downward, they're projects. But 4 stars, that's where the magic starts. Now, next, 3-star linebacker Adam Shaw. He has also committed to Rutgers from Riverdale, New Jersey. Pascack Valley High School. He's 6'3", 205 pounds, so he's tall and he's versatile as a linebacker. You know what's funny about him? Mostly he played quarterback and safety in high school, but like I said, he's projected as a linebacker.
All right, so you're from Pascack Valley High School. We used to play them when I was at Bergen Catholic. Good school, 6'3", 205, impressive size, but he's a 3-star. Is he a bum?
No, 3 stars aren't bums. 3 stars are, you'll take them, but you're reaching for a higher ceiling. 3 stars are, the potential is there. Are you willing to work for it?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I agree that, coming from Pascack Valley with good size, if he develops well, it could be a great contributor on the field for the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah, see, my worry is he played quarterback and safety in high school. So at the high school level, he was quick and elusive. But he's coming here as a linebacker. What do you think that says? Do you think that says that he's not as quick at the college level as you would like?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, but I trust that Schiano and his staff, know where he's going to be able to contribute the most value. And it's, just like Jason O just said, he's a good athlete. And at 205, I bet you we're going to see him around 235, even 240 in a couple of years. And, with good athleticism and that kind of size, perfect fit for the linebacker position at Rutgers.
And Jason, you definitely seem to know a lot about college football and about Rutgers. So anytime you'd like to join the show, you're more than welcome. We have the join link right above your comments, actually, and that goes for all viewers. If you're watching this and you have either positive things to say or constructive criticism about us, about Rutgers, about college football in general, you're more than welcome.
And I believe Jason O is a New Jersey native. So, we always welcome New Jersey natives on the show. He says he's a tall kid who runs track.
Oh, he runs track. Perfect.
Perfect. Speedy linebackers with that size, they don't come along that often. So this is a great addition, it seems, for the Scarlet Knights.
And you'll have to forgive me for not picking up on that. We got a lot of recruits this weekend, and I was trying my best.
All
right. So next on the list, 3-star offensive lineman Tyrell Simpson. Now, one word comes to mind here, and you're going to love it. Beef. You want to hear his intangibles. 6'7", 310 pounds. North Brunswick High School, but North Brunswick, North Carolina.
Oh,
so it's kind of funny, right? He's from North Brunswick High School, but he's going to a place about 10, 15 minutes from North Brunswick.
Yeah,
it's New Jersey.
Interesting fact. And he's a 3-star.
3-star offensive lineman. He named Rutgers his top school in March, so he's been liking the program for a while now. And I am more than happy that he is on the team with that kind of commitment and loyalty.
Yeah, North Carolina. What a beautiful state, North Carolina, especially that Raleigh-Durham area. My question for you is, he's 6'7", 310. Why is he only a 3-star? He should be mowing people down.
He'll do plenty of mowing. I think that he'll be a starter by the end of his sophomore year.
Again, that 2026 season, get ready. It's going to be magic. You're going to thank me.
Yes, and for anyone watching, Adam says these things in jest.
Okay, I do not say these things in jest. I want all of the Scarlet Knights fan base to realize that 2026 is going to be Schiano's return to glory.
No, not that it's our year. You're saying the criticisms in jest and love. You're not saying them in them.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows. I say them, half kidding, but also to make sure that we ask important questions that need to be answered for these players.
You know what my question is, and this is not a criticism. It's actually just out of curiosity. From North Carolina, I wonder why Rutgers was his top school since March. And
that's interesting that you say that, because we have I believe it's another linebacker coming in from North Carolina called Isaiah Deloche from North Carolina.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say. I think Rutgers has really improved in prestige over the last 20 years, both academically and its athletic programs have really, really improved. I think it's an attractive place for players to go, both to play football and develop and have a shot at the NFL, and to get a great education. So I think Rutgers offers that kind of whole package that people from different states, including our friend from Georgia last week, the 4-star who committed over the Bulldogs and over the Auburn Tigers. And you got to give credit to Greg Schiano. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and he's building something special for that 2026 year. But don't sleep on 2025, which we'll talk about shortly.
Yes. Now, when you think of Rutgers, the P word that comes to mind isn't pity anymore. It's promise.
That's right.
Mic drop on that, because I'm proud of that one. But you know what else I'm proud of? We got a quarterback. 3-star quarterback from my current backyard, Germantown Academy, Xavier Stern. He committed to Rutgers, quote, and Coach Schiano 3 weeks after receiving an offer, and I will talk about that quote more later. He had 16 offers.
16.
I don't have the list in front of me, but he had 16 offers. He's the number 33 player in Pennsylvania, number 51 quarterback in the nation. Now, if you break that down, he's technically on pace to be an above-average starting quarterback, but he needs to put in a lot of work to be the quarterback of our future. However, we're all happy that you chose Rutgers.
Yeah, we're thrilled that you chose Rutgers. And again, this goes back to what I've been saying. Schiano is building a culture there. He is building a standard there where they don't just want to compete in the Big Ten. They want to win the Big Ten. They want to go to the playoffs. Rutgers, like I said, offers an incredible academic and athletic experience where their players develop under the culture that makes them not only great players but great people and gives them a shot at the NFL. So don't, sell yourself short on Rutgers. Rutgers is a different school than it was 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And Rutgers is going to compete for the top recruits, and Greg Schiano and his crew deserve a lot of credit for that.
And I think that it also comes down to our new president, William Tate from LSU. I think that he's giving Shiano more of the keys.
Yes, President Tate, you are always welcome to come on the show because coming from LSU and coming from Death Valley, we know President Tate is here to win and here to win permanently. Jason O, another good comment about tight end coach Scott Vallone making inroads into North Carolina over the years and starting to bear fruit recently. Jason O, great point. And again, give credit to that staff at Rutgers. I think they've got something special there and a recipe for success, both because of their culture and because of the benefits that those men have when they play football and when they go into life.
Yeah, I've noticed. When you're thinking outside of the tri-state, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Illinois, we're getting a lot of good folks from out of the tri-state.
Yeah, and Jason O says he's been saying since the 90s that Rutgers needs to recruit, along the eastern Pennsylvania border harder. Well, it seems like they're doing that, and we're getting some results from that. I would also say let's give a shot to Florida and Alabama.
Alabama.
Nick Saban's not at Alabama anymore. Kalen DeBoer is a fantastic coach, but I think that we shouldn't sell Greg Schiano and his staff short. They've got something special to offer at Rutgers, and I think players see that. That's why you're seeing players from out of state coming at an increasing high basis, and that's why you saw a player from Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm in Georgia right now, and I can tell you, Georgia has a hold on the recruits. They all go to Athens, and for this guy to turn down Georgia and the NIL money and come to Rutgers,
Georgia and Auburn,
Rutgers, yeah,
and Auburn,
and Georgia Tech,
yeah, crazy.
Absolutely.
We got number 51 quarterback in the nation, which, there's 134 schools, so technically he would be an above average quarterback if everything holds up. It's just that number 51 quarterback it's good. It's really good. It's still just far from what we need, though.
And in 2026, the AJ Surace era begins.
Yes.
And I predict he will be an All-American.
I can totally see that. He had a lights-out spring performance. And, 2026 could be a magical year, but with these 2026 recruits being so dominant, it's looking like 2028, 2029. Those are going to be special years, too.
Well, that's what Shiano's building. He's building a foundation for sustained success. Jason O says Charlotte and Atlanta are quick and expensive flights to Newark. Yes, Jason O, that is correct. I fly from Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport about 5 times a year back to my hometown of Hasbrook Heights through Newark's Liberty International Airport. It is a delightful flight, only about an hour and 45 minutes once you get through the maze that is Hartsfield-Jackson. Although I will say Newark Airport right now experiencing some problems. So I may be flying into LaGuardia in 2 weeks, but that's neither here.
Yeah, with an hour 45, you can watch almost half of Avatar 2.
Last time I flew first class, and you know what I did? I put on headphones. I started watching The Godfather, and I ordered a glass of Chardonnay, and I said, keep it coming. And before you knew it, I was at Newark's Liberty Airport and a little bit buzzed.
Fair enough. Now, I'm not done here. We still have 3 more recruits to talk about. Next on the list. Now, you might be a little hard on him. I'm still happy with anyone choosing Rutgers. Logan Anthony, offensive lineman, unranked from Palmerton, Pennsylvania. He chose Rutgers over Virginia and Virginia Tech, though. And he's the 6th 2026 offensive line commit. He credits host player John Stone, junior offensive lineman from Sewell, New Jersey, as the main reason for joining the program.
Uh-huh.
Go on, give it to me.
Well, last week you were worshiping a player from New Haven, and now you're going into the depths of the unranked. I'm concerned.
I got to report this.
Are you okay?
The people deserve to know everyone we get on the team.
No, that's exactly right. And let me tell you something. Don't put so much stock in this 5-star, 4-star, 3-star stuff. There might be somebody who doesn't have any stars, but who can develop and really surprise a lot of people. So you're right. We welcome them on the team, and we hope the best for them. And Austin says he always want to go to Georgia and see the Falcons' brand new stadium. Is he referring to Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Yes, Austin, I've been there many times. You would like it. It's very enjoyable. I was there for the Alabama-Miami game a few years ago, and it's impressive on the outside and inside, and very close to Olympic Park. Remember the Olympics in 1996, the Fantastic Seven. Those women won the gold in gymnastics. So great place to be. Hope you can visit sometimes. If you do, give me a call.
So is March 28th in Atlanta, Georgia, just like burn everything day?
March 28th?
328.
What's 328?
You don't know about 328? What do you think happened in Atlanta sports history that has to do with those two numbers?
Was it the Olympics?
Flip them around. 28-3. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. You mean when the Patriots came back and defeated the Falcons? Unbelievable. I'm a Giants fan, though, so go Phil Simms.
I mean, you're a Giants fan, but I'm sure you would have rather had the Falcons win that day, right?
Absolutely. It was heartbreaking to see them lose. It really was.
Yeah, Matt Ryan deserved one, especially during his MVP year.
Yeah, and I really can't imagine how those players felt. Up 28-3, and to lose that, you got to feel for them.
My dad was getting ready to go to bed. He had work the next morning. He was getting ready.
Yeah, you know what? I was getting ready to go to bed in 2006 when USC scored the go-ahead touchdown against Texas to go up by 12 with 6 minutes left. I wake up. Oops. Vince Young.
I've always wanted to ask about that SC Trojans in your handle when we're on a Rutgers channel.
Well, I went to USC, so I'll always be a USC fan. I was there from 93 to 97. I was there in the second John Robinson era, and when I was there, Keyshawn Johnson was the star. He was the star wideout for USC when I was there. Quarterback was Rob Johnson, who went to the Buffalo Bills and was part of on the losing end of the Music City Miracle, if you remember that.
Yes, I do. Everyone thought that was a forward pass, but it
was a lateral. It was not a lateral. It was a forward pass. It was.
You look at the point of the throw and then the point of the catch. It's a lateral.
That guy got so damn lucky with that throw.
He did. But it's funny. You mentioned Keyshawn Johnson. It's really a shame because he's the Jets' best wide receiver ever, talent-wise, besides maybe Brandon Marshall talent-wise. But when you look at career numbers and whatnot, and he had to start his career with the Patriots.
Yeah, he started with the Patriots, and he wrote a book called Gimme the Damn Ball. And you know who was the starting corner when I was a student at SC? Eventually went out to play for the New York Giants, Jason Sehorn. Jason Sehorn.
That's a name. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Sehorn, Rob Johnson, Keyshawn Johnson. It was a great time for USC football. Won the 1996 Rose Bowl against Northwestern. But I digress. No one cares about SC. So let's proceed with these recruits. Now, you have a four-star.
Too soon, Austin. Oh, me too. So does Adam. We both know.
Austin, the Denver Nuggets should play the New York Knicks in a consolation game tonight.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, next recruit. 3-star tight end, Brady Owens. Number 1 ranked tight end out of Virginia.
Gotta love that. You gotta love that.
It really seems like we're like I said, Virginia. We're delving out of state here. And yes, I am thinking of Curtis Martin. Thank you.
When you said the Patriots, I was not sure about that. I tried to protect you, but Jason O called.
No, I had the wrong Jets. I had the wrong Jets star.
That was Curtis Martin, and Curtis Martin was a very, very good back. And now you're a Jets fan, so that means that you worship Mark Sanchez. Shall I remind you of the play in which Mark Sanchez? I'm just saying. I try to be nice.
Yeah, I was thinking of Curtis Martin. Keyshawn was on the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Keyshawn was good. At SC, he was dominant and also a very nice guy. But anyway, I digress.
Oh, see, I thought you were talking about the Nuggets, Austin. You're referencing 2012 Louisville. See, for some reason, I always merge those two schools together in my head, and that's probably offensive to you as a Louisville fan. But I don't know what it is.
Louisville a softball school?
They're also a very good basketball school.
No, I thought they were a softball and soccer school.
I mean, tell that to what's his name? To Rick Pitino.
No, talk to somebody from Kentucky and say Louisville, and they will give you the meanest look on the face of the earth. Or go to New Orleans and say New Orleans. Nope.
That's not acceptable anywhere.
Yes.
Last guy here. Most recent commit. And by the way, these are all in like the last 2 days. But most recent of them, Ronaldo Callaway III out of, I don't know how to say, Macon. Is that Macon, like a bird? Or is that Macon? I'm saying Macon.
Well, I live about 40 minutes from Macon, Georgia. They call it Macon. So I would say, but again, I can see you pronouncing it Macon.
So it's not Macon?
Well, with the way you just said it, no. But hey, it's your show.
Jason with some nostalgia here.
Yeah, Jason O. Let me tell you something.
Taglia.
Let me tell you something about Jason O. This guy knows this stuff.
Yeah.
He knows college football, and he knows probably baseball too. Going back a while, so he's,
encyclopedia
knows around my age, which is always good to see people here that I can commiserate with as we turn the half-century mark. Yeah, 1995 All-American team. Yeah, Keyshawn was he was at SC in 95 and 96. He said, no, not baseball. Well, you sure know your college football and professional football, so credit to you.
Absolutely. So, Ronaldo Callaway III out of not Macon, but Macon, Georgia. Edge, tight end, slot receiver. He does it all. Ranked as a 3-star edge, though, so that's where he will be playing.
From where?
From Macon.
He's from Macon, Georgia?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we got another Georgia person here. My only concern is edge, tight end, slot. I mean, that sounds like
it's like a
I play guitar, drums, and bass.
It's like Kelvin Benjamin. You remember he was a hamburger away from being a tight end.
Yes.
Now, you want to hear something interesting about this guy? He committed to South Florida in April, but he visited here on May 30th and committed today, 3 days later.
Wow. Well, our good friends from Georgia, I can tell you, going up to New Jersey, definitely an adjustment culture-wise. Georgia is much more laid back, much more rural. But I think what Rutgers has to offer and the atmosphere and environment they offer is really going to be something that these kids love, and I think it's harder to go from the East Coast to the South if you're recruited. I think it's easier to go from the South to the North.
Callaway actually is supposedly ending up on defense.
Okay.
That's what he's ranked as, a 3-star edge. So, I mean, he definitely can have some Wildcat-type formations on offense, but at least for this year, well, he's not coming in this year. He's coming in next year. So I guess I'll shut up about that. But I think he's going to be most formidable on defense. At least based on sources, per se. So here's my my wrap-up. And this is where I think things are going to turn from 23 minutes to possibly an hour. But I have
no. Do you have to?
I don't have
to put me through
this. See what happens here. But with all these moves happening over the last 48 hours, Schiano and company, they've been very active. And what stands out to me is the amount of O-line help we are getting. 6 2026 offensive linemen have committed. And of the aforementioned names, a 4-star and then a 3-star and an unranked O-lineman joining the squad. Now, I believe this comes down to Pat Flaherty and Schiano expanding on a protection-based culture.
I think so, too. And I think, it all starts in the trenches. And if Rutgers is going to have that magical 26-year and beyond, they're going to have to, play Big Ten football, which means winning in the trenches on the defensive and offensive side. And it's nice to see that we've added so much beef on the defensive side and that we're adding these rock stars on the offensive line. It bodes well for the future of Rutgers. And we're going to look back on this show and our other shows and say, remember when Rutgers lost the Rate Bowl 44-41 and nobody thought Rutgers was going to make the college football playoff? Well, we'll be here when they do, and they are going
to. I want to have a show where we go back and we look at all of our worst takes. I'm not saying that will be, but that would be a great show.
Well, I don't have any, but there's a lot of yours, so we'll go back and highlight them.
Exploring with Ben and Sam.
I'm just joking.
Exploring with Ben and Sam. I am running the Voice of College Football Instagram, and if you would like a collaboration post on Oregon, there is one waiting for you. I don't know if you've gone ahead and done that already, or if you're declining, that's okay too, but just know it's an offer.
I predict that the Ducks will come to Piscataway. We will have the opportunity to meet our good friends from the Oregon Ducks show and give them some great Italian food. But the Ducks will not quack, and I predict Dylan Gabriel will be sitting in the third deck crying as the Ducks go down in overtime.
I mean, he has a game the next day, probably. Yeah, I DM'd you, so you can look into that.
It doesn't matter if he has a game next day. He'll be on the bench.
Still on the bench either way.
He's 5'10". How's he going to play in the NFL?
Well, he was drafted before Shador.
That's because Shador has an attitude and an ego, and he said all the wrong things in the interviews. He has only himself to blame.
So we shot up to a top 20 recruiting class from number 35 or 33. Oh, and before I mention this, going back on that point about our matchup versus Oregon, Rutgers Barstool said that we're going to finish the year 8-4, but be undefeated going into Oregon.
Well, I'll tell you, I hope that's true. But my concern is the Iowa game.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are concerned and saying Rutgers is
too.
Yeah, and they also say Rutgers is going to be on upset alert against Ohio. I do not believe so. Why are we worried about Ohio? I'm not talking about Ohio State.
Well, we're worried about starting off quick, right? That was one of our keys, and we have to start off quick. And we started off hot last year, but overall that's been a struggle.
Not this year.
All right. I'll keep your word for it. Now, this is where I think things might get a little controversial, or maybe we'll agree. But so I said we shot up to a top 20 recruiting class, and with so many of these guys signing for Coach Schiano, as I quoted earlier, I truly believe he's here until he's done on his terms, and I think it's his team. I think President Tate is going to make it his team unofficially, and I really feel like it's just his program now. But you tell me what you think.
Let's make this clear. This is not only Greg Schiano's program, this is Greg Schiano's university. Coach Schiano has earned the right to stay for as long as he wants to and to retire on his own terms. But I am predicting that he will take Rutgers to heights that Rutgers football has never seen before he retires. And that's just a credit to him as a great coach, a great man, a great developer, and a great mentor of the players. So we're behind Coach Schiano 100%. I'm excited for this year, for 2026. I can't wait to meet you at Shea Stadium, and we're going to be giving some commentary as Rutgers plays the Hawkeyes and hopefully goes to 4-0 in the turning point of the year. Did
you see that he linked up with Shaquille O'Neal for the Knicks game?
He did?
Yeah, there's a picture on Rutgers football, and it's Shaq and Schiano coming out of a limousine.
That's so cool. Well, like Jason O said, Schiano's going to be the coach for as long as he wants to be, and he should be. He is the Bill Parcells of Rutgers football, in my view, and I love the guy. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I wonder what connection Shaq has to Rutgers, or if maybe Schiano has a connection to LSU. Maybe President Tate set that up.
Yeah, it could be. President Tate, if anybody's ever been to Death Valley, I was at the 2007 Virginia Tech LSU game in Death Valley, and let me tell you, that place was louder than you can imagine. President Tate brings a winning culture to Rutgers, and it's good for Schiano and good for the program.
Absolutely. All right, well, that wraps up Pickup Dates 3. There's going to be plenty more where that came from, but I have a feeling that this is the biggest one of the year.
Yeah, those are great updates, Gabe. Thanks so much. All right, everyone. Now we turn to our second segment, and one of the most important segments that we've had, which is previewing starting quarterback Athan Kaliakmanis for 2025. We've talked some about Athan, in prior shows, but let's go into a deeper dive here about what we expect for 2025.
Now, why is that? Why do you bring up Mr. Athan Kaliakmanis?
Because Athan Kaliakmanis is the key to Rutgers' success this year. Now, as you know, Gabe, you and I, 100% behind Athan. Really love the guy, and really think he's a great person. Has great potential, and hoping that he has the year of his career and goes on to the NFL. So let's take a deeper dive and look into what we expect from Kaliakmanis this year. And I think the best way to do that is to look at where he's been and how he's done. Of course, coming from the Golden Gophers and PJ Fleck at Minnesota in 2024, Kaliakmanis had a pretty good year. 2,696 yards with 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He was 213 out of 395 for a 53.9% completion percentage. So why don't we talk about some of the really strong attributes of Kaliakmanis and some of the areas where we're hoping for some improvement this year?
Oh, there's a fox right next to my gate. That's cool. That's Pennsylvania for you. As long as that fellow doesn't come in. But
maybe Athan's behind the gate. Look.
Are you saying that because he's got red hair?
No, you wouldn't be that lucky anyway. So in any event.
Oh, well then. Okay. So who did run into a Kaliakmanis, at least digitally? We did.
Yes.
It wasn't Athan, though.
Yes, we had a member of the Kaliakmanis family comment on our last show. Because and I have to take ownership here and offer a formal apology. Because previously I had...
One second. Stage is all yours.
Previously, I had criticized Athan for not participating in the spring game. And A.J. Surace participated, of course, and did a great job against that first-string defense. But I was informed after the fact that Athan didn't decide not to play, but that the decision about who should play is the coach's discretion. So I was wrong, and I apologize. And, it won't happen again. So let's move forward.
That was beautiful, man. I'm gonna shed a tear.
Hey, when you're wrong, you got to step up and admit it. And I was wrong.
Fair enough. Okay. Yes. Moving forward, and Athan or Andreas, we would love to have either one of you on the show. You're more than welcome. And
I'd like to make an announcement.
Go for it.
Athan, I know that I said on previous shows that you were disinvited onto the show. I am now reversing that. And in the spirit of Rutgers Scarlet football, re-inviting you onto the show whenever you'd like to come so that we can support you and talk to you about Rutgers football and highlight your accomplishments. So it is official now. The invitation has been extended.
Woo. And rapper G Herbo, I saw that you're friends with him, and he is also welcome on the show, maybe as your +1.
Yes, I would also, if you want my honest opinion, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jennifer Connelly, any of those who want to come on the show, or contact me privately.
Country star Beyonce, because she swept the country awards.
Beyonce, what a fantastic halftime show! I believe that was several years ago, but
I forget which year. Yeah, I remember. My favorite halftime show is probably Shakira for totally analytical reasons.
Shakira was great, but the best halftime show I ever saw, I think, was Michael Jackson.
Oh, of course. You saw how long he paused before he said to cue the music? Did you see the behind the scenes of that? Like, why? Like, the logic? He had the production manager in his ear, and he said before the show started, I'm going to turn my head, and that's when the show starts. And the production manager, he had an interview afterwards. He said he was sweating bullets because MJ was just standing there for 2 minutes.
Yes. Well, imagine being in front of 70, 80,000 people and just standing there.
Yep. And nobody stops cheering.
Jason O says Prince. Gotta love Prince.
Ooh, Prince in the Rain with the purple rain.
Now, Gabe is not a miracle worker. It's just that Adam has decided, you know what? When you're wrong, you're wrong. But it had nothing to do with Gabe, of course, because
Hey, to be fair, Adam here would not have known that he was in the wrong if I had not been the middleman and relayed information.
All right. Well, I guess people deserve credit where credit's due. So Austin will.
Also, those YouTube comments hold a lot of cool information in them. Not just from the Kaliakmanis family, but we've had a lot of cool gems. So if you like the show, leave a like and definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's do a little bit of a rewind here. We're supposed to talk about Athan's season. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so 2024, 2,696 yards, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 213 out of 395 for a completion rate of 53.9%. And I've got his stats from every game, which I'll go through. But I'd like to get some introductory thoughts from you.
It's a solid year, and we seem to be one of the only ones that complain about his year individually, and that's just because of what we think the bar should be under Coach Schiano and what we think Athan's potential is. But overall, those are great quarterback numbers, especially when he's not done. He has another year in him, and this is going to be the prove-it year, especially against the competition. We have 3 teams this year that we're facing that were all tougher than our toughest opponent last year.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the general before I go to the specific, and talk about some of the general strengths, go through the specific stats, and then talk about some of the areas we hope that there's some improvement. So number one, as far as Athan Kaliakmanis goes, number one, this is a good person. This is someone who is a genuine team player. This is someone who plays for the team and wants to win. Number two, Kaliakmanis has grit. You could tell, I looked at his highlights from last season all week. He has grit, okay? He's a tough player. And you can see that in some of the runs he had and when he hung in there in the pocket against tremendous pressure. So you got a great person, a team player. Number two, has tremendous amount of grit. Number three, when he's on, he makes some amazing throws. Yeah. There was a throw that he made against USC. I think it was in the third quarter when he was under pressure and threw a post, a dart right to, I don't know if it was Ian Strong or I'm not sure who it was. But
I don't remember either. But I know what you're talking about.
Oh, it was an absolutely beautiful pass.
Who were you rooting for in that game?
I was rooting for Rutgers.
I put you in a tricky predicament here, didn't I?
No, I was rooting for Rutgers, but I wouldn't be as heartbroken if they lost, if I can put it that way.
Unless they lost in a similar fashion as they did to a latter opponent.
Yeah. So against USC, he threw a bullet against the Trojans for a touchdown. But so he has shown some great arm strength and pinpoint accuracy in certain situations, but that's not all. If you look at some of the games that he played, some of the touch passes that he threw were unbelievable, including under tremendous pressure. So what do we take from these 3 points? Great person, team player, grit, has thrown some great balls, both touch and, with some great velocity. What you take away from this is that he's got the potential to be outstanding. He's got the potential to be a top quarterback in the Big Ten and, to have a legitimate shot at the NFL. So where are some areas that maybe we can work on improving? Well, let's look at last year. So against Howard, 15 to 24, 147 yards for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
I mean, touchdowns are there.
62.5% completion rate, and I think you guys are going to see where I'm going with this. Against Akron, 14 of 23 for 230 yards, 60.9% completion, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. All right, so pretty good. Virginia Tech, 16 of 25, 269 yards, 64% completion rate, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So we go to Washington, the game in Piscataway that they won 21-18. 14 of 24, 115 yards, 58.3% completion, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And then we go to that fateful game against Nebraska. 15 of 37 for 186 yards, 40.5% completion, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Wisconsin, 12 out of 32, 103 yards, 37.5% completion, 0 touchdown, 1 interception. UCLA, 18 out of 30, 287 yards, 60% completion, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And what I think was his best game, USC, 27 out of 47, 313 yards, 57.4% completion, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Minnesota, 17 out of 33, 240, 51.5% completion yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Maryland, 20 out of 30 for 238 yards, 66.7% completion, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Illinois, 18 out of 36 for 174
18
yards.
out of 36.
Yeah, 50% completion, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And in Michigan State, 13 out of 22, 157, 59.1% completion, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And finally, in the Rate Bowl, Kansas State, 14 out of 32, 237 yards, 43.8% completion, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So what can you gather from this? Okay, well, number one, he had some efficient games. Never did you see any games where he threw, more than 2 interceptions. All right, so some of the interceptions, came under pressure, a couple of ill-advised throws, but generally, he did not throw a lot of interceptions.
Do you think he had the opportunity to throw more than 2 interceptions?
Yeah, I'm sure he did, but I'm sure he made good decisions to avoid that. But where I think the number one area of concern for Kaliakmanis is completion percentage and accuracy. So when you're looking at the combined completion percentage, you have too many games where it's under 60%. 58.3 against Washington, 40.5 against Nebraska, 37.5 against Wisconsin, 51.5 against Minnesota, 43.8 against Kansas State. So that brings me to the number one concern about Athan Kaliakmanis this year, or shall I say, where we hope he improves, is going to be, ball placement and accuracy. That's number one. Number two for me is going to be his decision-making under pressure. And number three, I'd like to see him push the ball down the field a bit more. I think he has the arm strength and the velocity to do so. And, you got to take these concerns in concert with his strengths. I mean, he is a great athlete. I think he's a great touch passer, some great passes last year, even under pressure. I think he's a really good timing and rhythm passer. Athan, in my opinion, thrives off of play action and RPOs.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you get him into that play action with his timing, okay, and you got receivers now like DT Sheffield, we could be seeing some great passes like the ones we saw against USC. So, on the positive side, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Like I said, great team player, grit, great athlete. What we're looking for improvement, though, is ball placement and accuracy, decision-making under pressure, protecting that football, and really this year pushing the ball downfield, which I hope we see against Iowa. And that's kind of my take on Athan. So it's good. If I had to grade Athan from last year, I'd give him a B+. We support Athan. He should be the number one quarterback at Rutgers. He has the potential for an amazing year, but those areas of concern are going to be the focus so that the offense can be more polished and so that, number one, he hits his passes, with greater accuracy, pushes that ball downfield, and avoids mistakes when he's under pressure.
Yeah, wow. You gave a very good analysis there. And I think you cover some fair points. He's the best quarterback we've had, and that was the best quarterback season that we've had in a very long time. Whether you want to cut it to the early 2010s or go back to 06 through 08, he's definitely that guy when it comes to starting quarterback.
Yeah.
AJ is a very good quarterback. He's shown some very good promise. And I am confident in him in 2026 to 27, that he can be a very formidable quarterback. But Athan separates himself currently through his talent and his arm. And he's got some great speed, too. Don't let that slip away just because of the quarterback statistics that you mentioned. He has a lot of good rushing stats, too.
Yeah, and I think you're right because, we've joked on the past before, there's a quarterback battle, blah, blah. Now, AJ Surace is certainly the number 2 guy, and he has a great future. But Athan is the he's the man for Rutgers this year. I think when you look at his positives, the grit that he has, the athleticism that he has, you've seen he had some great runs this year for first downs that were very impressive. So we see the athleticism, we see the grit, we see the team player in him. We also see, he has some great touch on his throws. He can zing it when he wants, like we saw against USC. So there's a lot of positives. But the next step in his progression is going to be, when they bring the pressure, okay, are you going to be able to, maintain ball accuracy and placement? Number two, on that play action, on those RPOs, are the receivers and Athan going to be on the same page so that they have their timing and rhythm in place, which is one of his strengths? And is he going to be able to push the ball downfield, which I think he's shown, flashes of. So more consistency in those areas, less mistakes in those areas, and accentuating all of his strengths. You put that recipe together, it could be a special year for Athan.
Yeah, I think that one thing that goes overlooked with Athan is he's shown under a different light if we win that game against Illinois, because that comeback that he had before Illinois broke our hearts was miraculous. I'm talking, what was it? It was like 4th and 11 or 12 or something, and he scrambled. He scrambled to the first down, and then the go-ahead touchdown, I think it was to Strong on the right side. It was a beautiful throw. And honestly, I want to ask you, if we win that game, does his season go to an A-? Because that was a beautiful comeback.
It doesn't go to an A- in my book because I still give him credit, despite the loss to Illinois, for what he did. But what I think, after discussing, his stats last year, his strengths, his weaknesses, it comes down to one word for Athan Kaliakmanis for me, and that's consistency.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him make some incredible plays last year. I mean, you look at some of these highlights, some of these throws are NFL quality throws, but then you see a bit of a regression in some games. And for Rutgers, and this is kind of a microcosm of what Rutgers needs to become, more consistent and more polished, so they don't lose that close game to Illinois, so they don't lose 35-32 against UCLA. So for Athan, all the tools are there. The talent is there. The strengths are there. But making sure you're better, with your accuracy and placement, better under pressure, that's going to lead to the consistency that's going to help Rutgers get over the hump and go on a sustainable winning streak.
For sure. And Jason, I agree with your comment. He does need to play like a senior, and that's, I believe, what Adam is referencing when he says consistency. And also just being a leader of the locker room. I can tell you, so look, this is nowhere near D1 football, but when I played modified, I noticed the difference in my heart and in my mental capacity from being a 7th grader or the kid on the team to an 8th grader being a leader, right? Now imagine that feeling, but being it transformed from your first year as a transfer, you're thrown into a starting position, but then you're a senior and you have the team is yours. The keys are yours. You get to come up with the audibles. You get to improvise when your weapons aren't there. And when the team is down, you get to give the fiery pep talks. This is your team, Athan, and I believe that this is the year that you're going to prove it. Now, previewing the year, if we're talking from a structural standpoint, I mean, consistency is key, and specifically in percentages. But you have a better deep option this year in DT Sheffield than you've had, or just a check down guy in DT, honestly. But then you have 2 consistent wideouts who are a year older, and they're going to be more proven in KJ Duff and Ian Strong. And then you also have Ben Black and Fama Toure, who themselves are going to be a year more developed. And you have 2 great tight ends. You have Antoine Raymond coming back. You have Jashawn Benjamin coming back. And you have a guy who's not going to replace Manon Guy, but certainly be a hybrid workhorse in CJ Campbell. We have the offense, and we have the offensive line under offensive line coach Pat Flaherty to be an elite offensive line. Give him time to work the pocket or to come up with something on the run, be a scramble guy if he has to. So I see this year being a 20 touchdown pass kind of year, especially if DT wants 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. It's going to be a 20 touchdown pass kind of year, 5 rushing touchdowns, and I'm seeing 5 or less interceptions.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think what Jason said is really important. Athan, this is your year to be a leader and to lead this locker room and lead this team to the wins that you should have had last year.
Sheffield can return punts. He did it at North Texas, and he's not projected to currently, but I believe he'll be returning punts by week 3 or 4, just given his explosiveness.
Agreed. All right, so that's our analysis of Athan Kaliakmanis. Hope to get him on the show to talk about Rutgers and the upcoming season, as well as Coach Schiano. In the meantime, we have our great friend Austin, who has checked in here, and looking forward to having a great conversation with Austin. Austin, welcome to the show. How's it going, buddy?
How you doing, buddy?
It's always a pleasure, guys. I look forward to these conversations. My daily Monday routine after a long day's worth of work. Love talking Rutgers with y'all. And Gabe,
What do you do?
I'm a farmer. I raise horses.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And Gabe, all kidding aside, before we get into the topic, though, sorry about your Knicks, though, man. It was just a bad matchup from the beginning.
Yeah, you know what? I had a marketing team meeting before this, and one of the guys on there is a Pacers fan. He didn't cut too hard into me, though, but, he was so happy that his team is in the finals. I wish I had that. It's okay, though. I haven't seen any of my teams win the finals in my 25 years of existence, but it'll happen.
Well,
it will. Go
It'll
ahead,
be
Adam.
so sweet, too, when it does happen.
last week Austin said Pacers in 5, styles make fights. You wouldn't listen?
I mean, he was wrong. Pacers in 6.
Listen, not to go too off the deep end, Gabe, but even you have to admit, and part of me was messing with y'all, but part of me was being serious, though. The Pacers are a mismatch for anybody they play because they can run with the best of them. I think they're going to give OKC a run for their money.
I have two contrary viewpoints here. On one hand, when they're hot, they're the best team in the league, and no one can stop them. On the other hand, though,
no arguments.
I don't know if they win a game against the Thunder, just being real.
I mean, I think they can win 2 at least because I think their style is good enough. And the Thunder are like the Knicks. They like to set their defense.
I have a wager going with my friend, actually. It's a $20 wager. I'm not promoting gambling, but it's basically if the Pacers win a game, I give up the 20. But if they get swept, I get the 20. That's how confident I am.
Yeah, unfortunately for you, Gabe, you're going to be losing $20, good buddy. I'm sorry.
Sir.
Yeah, Gabe is great at making bad bets.
That's not true. Come on now.
And he's outside today.
My FanDuel statistics say otherwise.
But you want to know what's not a bad bet is having Athan as your all's quarterback.
Ooh, that's transition. Okay.
Agreed.
Yes. And the thing is with Athan, I agree with you, Adam. His biggest flaw is consistency. And it's with a lot of quarterbacks. It's not just Athan. We're not going to particularly pick on him with this, but since he is the topic, the thing with Athan is, I've noticed, is there's some games that this past year where he's been red hot on fire. The Kansas State game, he was throwing dimes, looking good. The offense was humming.
Yeah.
It's just, can he get a defense to complement him? Flip it on its head, because Athan has done his job at some of these games. Like the Illinois game, that was a great job by Athan, not losing poise, keeping control, making a comeback. But it was the defense who lost that game. That was an Athan legacy game, and the defense lost it at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that could be the biggest key. Can your defense hold up their end?
I agree with you. And that offensive line is going to have to be great this year because giving him the protection, the time he needs is going to be really important to effectuate that consistency. What do you think, Gabe?
Yeah, I agree with you. And wow, now it's just me. I agree with you. And I just wanted to – was that payback for earlier?
Yeah.
Stop it. Oh, no, now I clicked it. Ah! All right, you do it. Now, I wanted to bring this up earlier. Whoa, okay, here we go. I wanted to bring this up earlier because, Austin, you were talking about defense. I forgot to mention this. Eric O'Neal, who is a transfer from JMU on the front 4, he has been named to the Lot Impact Trophy watch list, which basically means it's awarded annually to the nation's top defensive player. But obviously that doesn't mean he's the top defensive player. It means he's on the watch list, meaning he has a chance. So he's been named this by the Lot Impact Trophy committee itself. So that's a great start. We got a guy who's potentially the nation's top defensive player. Will he get it? Probably not, with how many people are on that list. But that's a great start. And he's not the only one we got. We got Doug Blue Eli, Jabone coming back. The front seven is where it's at. And I think that complements Athan really well. The fact that, we might get exposed a game or two, especially against those teams that are going to be in the top 25. But I think Athan's good enough to make up for some of those games. And against the teams that were supposed to win, specifically the first 3 to 4 games, and then those 50-50 games, I think the defense can really hold its own.
And I agree with those points. And here's the thing, too, to kind of add to it, is here's the thing with Athan, watching those games, you could tell he did everything in his power to try to win those games. And Athan, a lot of times might get the fault. Oh, he should have done this or he should have done that. And I think sometimes we unfairly judge quarterbacks, especially when you're at the higher programs, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. But here at Rutgers, I've noticed some of the fans have judged Athan a little too harsh. I remember after the Illinois game, they were like, well, if Athan hadn't dug us that hole, we wouldn't have had to worry about that. Yeah. And I get that to a certain extent. I don't disagree. But Athan also brought you back in the game, and then the defense gave up on you. So, in my opinion, Athan did his part. He made up for his mistakes. The defense gave it up at the end. So the blame could go both ways.
It can. And that's the beauty of a team. Now, Jason, you mentioned, I showed it earlier, the defense should be pretty good next year, should be a step faster, more athletic, most spots. Now, I wanted to ask you this question, if you'd be so kind to respond, Jason. Do you think that Cam Miller could be better than Robert Longerbeam? Let me know. I kind of think that he can be. But with that being said, that might be a hot take, considering.
Yeah, I also think you have to be balanced when you look at the quarterback. You don't want to be overly critical, but you don't want to also be overly accommodating. I mean, he had some amazing games and some amazing throws. Where I would like to see the improvement, though, is the consistency and the ball placement. Because if you look at the completion percentages pretty much across the board last year, you see a lot of sub 60% completion games. Now, that's not to criticize him, but to say, hey, this is an area where if you improve in this area and your offensive line gives you the time to throw, it can be a really, really powerful offense for the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what I want to say too to that, and I want to say too to this, Adam, and Gabe, I think like you said, it's consistency. There's games where we praise Athan and he deserves all of it, but there's games where we also look at him this past year where it's like, ay. And you all know as Rutgers fans, being in depth, looking at this team each and every week and watching every game, you have a better eye on it than I do, so you could give out the judgment more better. And then when Athan plays bad, you can be like, hey, Athan, wasn't your day today? And then when he plays great, you can be like, hey, Athan, that's winning success right there. I mean, we can point out multiple times. The Illinois game, bad first half. Second half, he played tremendous.
And that comeback drive, that was one of the best drives I've seen out of him probably ever.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When you see Athan play like that, you know the potential for greatness is there. The key is now, and we've talked about this on prior shows, Rutgers putting all those pieces together, having that polish, avoiding those turnovers, winning time of possession, winning those 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s, winning the turnover battle. If they can put all that together, it could be a special season.
Mm-hmm. And I want to bring this up too, Adam. Adam, real quick, is you talked about not over-accommodating. I feel like sometimes we get the blinders on. We put our colored glasses on. Like, you put the scarlet red glasses on, and you may be like, oh, it's not Athan's fault. It's not his fault. Well, you do that, then maybe makes him think, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. And then you look at the stat sheet, and it's, yikes, I threw 3 picks. I didn't play well. But my fan base is telling me I did just fine. It's the defense's fault.
See, I think Adam's the polar opposite of that. I think that Adam is not afraid to give criticism. but he's old school New Jersey. I mean, sometimes you forget to show love. And that's actually what I think separates a good coach from a great coach, is the ability to be vulnerable. All of these coaches in college football are smart. They've been around the game for a long time. But what separates the coaches is the humanity aspect. And I've been preaching this actually with the Knicks and Thibodeau and whoever the next coach might be if we don't keep him. But putting it back to a college football standpoint, Schiano, his recruiting ability has been through the roof, and that's because of his ability to relate to these guys and show that vulnerability. And I think that's extended to the rest of our coaching staff.
Yeah, I think that's important. But I also think, it's kind of like your approach and my approach kind of complement each other. You still, if you really want to help somebody, if you want to make them great, you got to tell them things they don't want to hear. You gotta criticize them, and as long as the criticism is constructive and based in fact, because you're not doing anybody any favors if you coddle them or if you accommodate them, because eventually they're going to go into the real world, whether it's in football or in life, and it's going to hit them. So as hard as it is, and it is very hard for me to criticize some of the players on Rutgers, I'm doing so from a perspective of, hey, I want to see you get better, not I'm trying to tear you down. So what I think a great coach does is balances both things, and that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
just
another
because
go ahead, Gabe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but just because we can't do the things these athletes do doesn't mean that we don't have criticism that will work later on. You know how the saying goes, and I don't even need to say the saying, but those who can do, those who can't teach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that applies to us.
Mm-hmm.
We're good, even if we're not the coach. We see what we observe, and we reflect, and we execute when it comes to our notes.
Yeah, and my main criticism is a very simple one: completion percentage.
Yeah,
and that's the consistency. And I've complimented Athan extensively, but I've also criticized him a fair bit. And that's what I think. When people care about you, they tell you the bad news too, and that's, I think, is important.
Mm-hmm. And I want to bring up these couple key points here because I think they're important to this conversation. You all have talked about the coaching staff. I want to see going into this year growth between Schiano and Athan. How much has their relationship grown since he's been there? Have they formed a family bond where if Athan makes a mistake, can Schiano look him in the eye and be like, hey, that was not a good throw? And Athan take it constructively and be like, okay, I look at the tape and be like, okay, yeah, that was a bad throw. Or is he going to?
I'm worried about with that. I'm worried about Schiano with that. Can Schiano implement enough trust in Athan to where, and with Manangai gone, he might not have a choice in certain games, especially down 2 or 3 possessions in the big 3 games. Will he have enough trust in Athan to give him the opportunity to throw a so-called third interception? I don't know if he's that kind of guy, but I really hope he is, because that's why I asked earlier, did Athan have the opportunity to throw 3 interceptions? Because after 1 or 2, you change the whole game plan in the NFL. And with Schiano's NFL type of coaching, I feel like he did that a lot. I feel like he changed the style a little too soon in certain games.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's important is when someone makes a mistake, like when my students make a mistake, they don't do well on an exam or something like that, your first instinct is not to say, oh, you did a terrible job. The question you should be asking them is, what did you learn from this? Because if you can have people learn from failure, then you're helping them, because then you're helping them to grow. And I think this year you're going to see that growth.
Mm-hmm. And another thing with Athan is part of this is how has Athan grown as a person, as a leader, like you both mentioned? Because we see a lot of great quarterbacks. We've seen guys like Aaron Rodgers. We've seen Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady. They make a bad play, they'll look at their teammate, even though if it's not their fault, they'll be like, it's my fault, and they'll talk it out and go. We've also seen the complete opposite, where the quarterback will start chucking helmets, yelling at coaches. And I just want to see, has Athan grown? Not to say that he did any of that before, but is his leadership ability where it should be to be a pro next year? Is he a guy that's going to be like, okay, that pick was on me. Come on, DT, let's talk it out.
Yeah.
No need to yell. No need to make anything for the camera. Let's just talk it out. Come on.
See, DT, I would never think. I mean, he's got the fire and the seriousness, but he doesn't strike me as a verbal altercation kind of guy. But when it comes to Athan possibly making the league, I mean, if DJ Ukulele can make it as an undrafted free agent, I have all the faith in the world that Athan could, at the very least, be a UDFA. Now, I think he has the potential to be drafted, and drafted in day 2. Now,
He can be a UDFA, but the question is going to be, is Athan going to be a career backup in the NFL, or can he make that jump to being, a starter? And I think this year is going to tell the story, and it's going to come down to consistency.
I mean, I think a career backup in the NFL would be a really good thing for this program as a quarterback. That would mean he's the number 2 guy. He's guaranteed a roster spot. That's what I see him being, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, is a career backup. But not a third string and not a practice squad. I'm talking second string, guy gets hurt, he'll start some games.
And the thing is, too, Adam and Gabe, we brought this up, and I know you all don't like hearing this, but that Illinois game is a perfect example of this next point, is Athan, can he stay poised when the moments get tough and it gets crunchy, when it gets to crunch time? Because Athan at times last year made a mistake in crunch time. Like the Washington game, he overthrew his running back, and he kind of had his head down, didn't do anything, but had his head down, kind of had the somber walk to the sideline. And I'm like, okay, that's okay, but don't make that a habit. Whereas some quarterbacks, they're blank. You can't tell whether they're ticked off, they're upset, or if they're thinking, okay, next one, it ain't gonna happen. I want to see if Athan has that NFL poise.
I did mention that that Illinois drive was one of the most impressive I've ever seen. But in Rutgers fashion, being stressed out, I did forget that he almost got intercepted, but thankfully the ball hit the ground first.
Well, I think when you talk about Athan, how he's going to do in clutch situations, I think you saw some of that last year, which is the answer is sometimes he's going to succeed and sometimes not. And when it comes back to that consistency I keep talking about, Rutgers has to win the little things to win a lot of games this year, whether it's the turnover battle, the time of possession, the fourth downs, like against Nebraska last year when they had the ball on the 2-yard line. They've got to win the little things. So if Athan can be more consistent, particularly when he's under pressure, if he can improve his accuracy and get that completion rate up to about 65%, you're going to see Rutgers win a lot of games. So it comes back to, yes, he has all the tools to be great, but to be great, you have to be consistent. And I think when you look at the completion percentages from last year and the games, you see some great games like USC when he threw for over 3,000 yards. But then you see
3,000 yards?
313 yards, I'm sorry. But then you see the Kansas State game when he completed 43.8% of his passes. So consistency across the board, both from Athan and from the team, is going to be critical to their success.
And I want to pose this question to you all because this is important. Have you, Adam and Gabe, as Rutgers fans, do you all trust Athan to take you on a game-winning drive? No timeouts, you need 3 to win. Do you trust Athan to go do it?
I'm going to make this a very short answer. Yes. 100%.
My answer is I'm not sure.
At least for this year. For this year, going like prediction-wise, I do trust him. Now,
this goes back to what I was saying before. I don't take any pleasure in criticizing a player or expressing doubt, but I'm just going to be honest. The answer is I'm not sure. It's going to depend on how we see him develop. Is it possible that he can be the go-to guy on a game-winning drive? Absolutely. But am I confident at this point that that's going to be the case? I'm not so sure yet.
And another thing I want to see from Athan, and I've got 3 more points I want to bring up on this, is his pocket presence. Another key thing, that's one that we've seen Athan grow, but at times the ugliness of it shows back up. Perfect example. I keep going back to it. But the Washington game, Like, that's one that I always look at as a big point. Washington only had a 3-man pressure, and they had the box and one, and Athan had all the time in the world, and he still threw it away. And that's one of those I look at and be like, Athan, there's only a 3-man rush. You've got time. Like, I wonder if his mental clock speeds up. I want to see if he gets better at that.
So there's 3 W's that I believe will be crucial when it comes to Athan's success. And it's the reason that I trust. It's the work, the wideouts, and the third one I forget because that's how you do it. But I definitely trust the work and the wideouts for being reasons why Athan will progress when it comes to those clutch situations.
I agree. And I think what we're going to see here this year is we're going to need to see a team effort, okay? You know, Michigan won the national championship in 2023 because they were a team. There was no player on that team that was just a breakout star. I mean, J.J. McCarthy was great, Blake Corum, of course, but the reason that they won is because they were a team. So it's not just, is Athan going to be more consistent? It's, is the team going to be more consistent so that we don't see another Illinois, we don't see another Nebraska, and certainly not another Wisconsin.
The wisdom is the third one I was thinking of. Work, wisdom, and wideouts.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, babe. It's a song by Meatloaf.
2 out of 3, that's a passing grade in college.
But I want to say this too. I want to say this too. The Nebraska game, Adam, you keep referencing, and I want to kind of pick on that real quick. Why is it you're picking on that? Does that one, in your opinion, fall on Athan, or does that more fall on the coaching? Because as we mentioned, they couldn't get the ball in after running it in, trying to run it in. Does that fall on Athan? Should he have the ability to? Why is it you keep going back to that one when it comes to Athan?
I don't specifically attribute it to Athan. I attribute it to the team and to some of the coaching decisions. Going to Lincoln and scoring only 7 points, no. We should have won that game. We should have been able to punch it in from the 2-yard line. The fake field goal was in my opinion, was a mistake. And I just didn't feel that the offensive line really played well in the trenches. I thought they really were dominated by Nebraska's defensive front. So I thought it was a team loss. I didn't think Athan played very well. I mean, he was 15 of 37 for 186 yards with a 40.5% completion percentage. So, again, we talk about, we want to have humility and we want to support our players, but we also want to constructively criticize them. 40.5% in Lincoln, Nebraska isn't going to cut it, especially when Athan had 2 interceptions. So that's
fair.
The only games that concern me for Athan this year are Iowa and Ohio State. I think every other game he'll get that 50% mark and he'll get closer to 60 and 70. But the rest of the Iowa, that could be an ugly first half. And Ohio State, obviously, they're a juggernaut. So that's kind of got to be a sort of a fluke, at least when you think of like play calling or highlights. But everything else, I think absolutely. I mean, this may just be me being optimistic, but I really think that wisdom, experience, the wide receivers, and it's interesting. Jason says it's still a run-first team, and that's sort of what Adam and I were debating on the show, actually with Austin a few weeks ago, is will Coach Schiano implement a different play style?
Well, I think that Jason O just made a great comment when he said, Athan didn't have a good game against Nebraska, but he's right. Ben Black missed a touchdown, wide open, and he just dropped the ball. And the coaching decisions, I think, there were a problem too. So, like I said, it was a team loss, but you can't have a completion percentage of 40.5% and throw 2 interceptions and think you're going to win in Nebraska.
And that's a fair point, Adam. I see where you're coming from on that. I was just curious why that kept getting brung up when we're discussing Athan. But I understand a little bit more now. Athan didn't have his best game. I understand where you're coming from. And like you said, I agree with you. You got to be able to give criticism out to everybody and not protect one player. I get that now. But to Gabe's point, I want to talk to you for a second here, Gabe, and of course Adam could chime in as always. So my thing is, Gabe, you failed to mention Penn State just a second ago.
Yep.
And I know Adam loves to pick on Drew Aller. We're going to leave Drew Aller out of this for a minute. But that Penn State defense, I think they alone might be able to handle Rutgers' offense. And I want to see if Athan is able to handle NFL-level type defense play calling. Because Rutgers...
I left them out intentionally.
Okay.
Because you mentioned Drew Aller. I disagree with Adam about Drew Aller, but he's not on the defense. And you know who else isn't on the defense? Abdul Carter, who is one of the best NFL prospects in the past 5-10 years. You look at Micah Parsons, you look at others, and like he's that level. But they still have they have an elite defense. But like I said, I think Athan's he's got this mentality that he trusts his guys and he's not fazed by the other team's roster. Everyone's saying Penn State could be better than Ohio State. I just don't see it. Penn State's an amazing school, an amazing program. And unfortunately, like Jason says, they might kick the poop emoji out of RU. But I do want to talk about that game, Jason, because I do think that Athan's going to have a good game. And I do trust our offense to put up 20, 25 points, whatever it may be. Now, is Penn State going to score 30? Possibly, but I really trust this team offensively.
Can I say something controversial real fast about that?
No. Yeah, of course.
I feel like that game might be a season-defining look in the mirror type game for Rutgers. I could see Penn State's defense alone shutting Rutgers out on offense, and I mean that with all due respect.
You're saying
I think Penn State's defense is that special.
Well, the thing is, we have guys on our offense that are NFL material. So it's like they have this NFL-ready defense. Like, yes, their defense is really good, but we have guys on the offense that are going to be in the NFL, whether they get drafted or not. And that's the only reason I have us falling flat against Ohio State is because Penn State, Ohio State back-to-back isn't exactly easy.
Yeah, well, as far as Penn State goes, I'm not as sold on the idea that Penn State's going to come in and wipe the floor with us because let's look at how Penn State played last year against Boise State. Let's look at how Penn State played and how Drew Aller played against Boise State. Let's look at how Drew Aller and Penn State played against Notre Dame. They are a beatable team. And I think Drew Aller, of course, is a great quarterback who has great, great talent, but his judgment in some circumstances is questionable. We saw he didn't do much against Ohio State, didn't do much against Boise State, and threw that interception against Notre Dame. So I'm not ready to pack it in when it comes to Penn State.
And I want to make this a point. Oh, not to cut you off, Gabe. Apologies, but I just want to make this point.
You're good.
Okay. I just want to make this point real quick about it. I'm saying the Penn State defense is what I'm getting at because the offense, I agree with y'all, can go cold. We all remember that Indiana game a couple years ago, right? The pitiful Indiana before they got on that miracle run. Penn State was struggling with pitiful Tom Allen, Indiana. So Penn State's offense, I'm not sold is going to be world beaters, but their defense has been elite under James Franklin. And I feel like with Rutgers, I feel like this could be one of them look in the mirror type games, get a taste of your own medicine, get
Jason,
punched in the mouth.
You really feel.
I think the season is going to turn on the Iowa game. If the Iowa this year is the Nebraska game of last year, if they can beat Iowa, the season is going to go in a positive direction. But if they lose, I fear we're headed for a 6-6 season.
See, I think I agree with Jason that we need to have 8 wins before PSU. Now, we're not going to make the playoffs this year, no matter what Adam or I say on how to improve the team. But if we have 8 wins before Penn State, that's a successful season. Anything better than last, given that the schedule is harder, is a success.
And I want to ask you two, since this is about Athan, what's the game you're looking for as far as Athan goes? What's the game that Athan is going to shine in, and this is going to be his superstar, here I am moment
Yeah.
I'm bigger, better,
got an
and
answer for
stronger
you.
than I was.
I got an answer for you. It's there's no YMCA rendition for it, but WASHINGTON. It's gonna be Washington. Hey, that's funny that we mentioned Washington, Jason, because that's the team I really think that Athan's going to shine against. Now, Washington's got a great defense. Historically speaking, obviously 2 years ago, they were a lot better on defense, but they still have a formidable defense. But I think that's the game where it's our first look at a real, I don't want to say real, historically, a really good football team.
It's going to be Iowa. Iowa's going to be the game.
You think so? Because I think that's the game where Athan has a really garbage first half, and then he has a good second half, and his numbers go back to even.
That's when Athan has to throw the corner because Iowa's going to come in with a good defense. Like Jason said, Friday night game, it's going to be like the Washington atmosphere. He's got to take the next step, and Iowa is going to be the game where he has to do it. Because if he doesn't do it against Iowa, he ain't going to do it in Seattle.
You want to hear my numbers for Washington? I got them in mind. Ready?
Go for it, Gabe.
417 yards to be exact. Yeah, give me the stage.
You got the stage.
What's up, man? I'm not Adam. You were never disinvited from this show if I have the stage. 417 yards, Mr. Athan Kaliakmanis. 4 touchdowns. You'll throw an interception. It's okay. We all do at some point. But you'll have 417, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 42 to 20. Now there's none of us. There we go.
Yep, Gabe has lost his privilege.
I had to remove you from the stage after that 400-yard prediction.
417, not 400.
Austin, you have to correct this guy. He just predicted he's going to go to Seattle and throw 400 on UW.
400
I had to remove him from the stage.
He might get a rushing touchdown.
And there's Gabe. let me play Peacekeeper. I'm gonna bring things back.
Don't start, Gabe. My blood pressure.
I'm gonna play Peacekeeper real fast. So,
Peace and love, brother.
Gabe, so love you both to death, but we gotta get some order here. So, I understand where you're coming from, Gabe. This isn't Michael Penix's Washington, but do you know how hard it is to go into Seattle and put on a performance like that?
Exactly, Gabe.
I am fully aware.
Well,
that's how much I believe in Athan. This is Athan's year. He's going to be a top 5 in the Big Ten quarterback, and he's going to be a top 15 nationwide.
He's not throwing for 417 yards against Washington. I can't believe
you want me to move it up for 420? Blaze it, 420, blaze it.
And just like that, Gabe is gone.
This is going to be.
But I want to say this:
Adam and Austin, when the show is over, huh?
So, I want to say this. Listen, Gabe, I understand your admiration, and we all do it. But you have to think: Washington historically is a team at home who plays really great football, and especially if you play them at night. They are heck to play with. Just ask Michigan. Michigan last year, even with their quarterback situation, was still a more talented, better team. And they got their butts handed to them at night in Seattle.
That's why we had to put
Washington's a different team.
That's why
I say it in jest, but when you talk about Austin, that you need to have a game where you perform like a superstar. Wow. Okay. When you talk about a game where you need to perform like a superstar, I think Washington, and I think he can do it. And if you're talking about a game where you need to put yourself on the map and you need to be a superstar, you need to put up a Heisman level performance, you need to be irrational. And that's the game where I irrationally think Athan can put up one of the best games in Rutgers quarterback history, and for sure the best in his history.
He needs to do it before that. He needs to do it against Iowa earlier in the season to really get the momentum.
Let's
not throwing for 400 yards in Seattle.
Let's let him do both.
So I respect both of your opinions. I'm going to blow the roof off this thing here in a second because I got one better.
Sure.
It's the revenge game against Illinois. Athan, this is the game I think Athan's got circled in his head.
Yeah, the
Any
Knicks
player
had a
will
revenge series against Indiana too, and didn't look so good.
But here's the thing, though. I guarantee you, Gabe and Adam.
Guarantee. You got the Charles Barkley button?
Gabe is being a brat.
Guarantee.
All right, hit me.
But so I guarantee you, Coach Schiano is going to have that film playing from last year and showing those players over and over and over again that last play. And Athan's going to remember, if I hadn't played so bad, we wouldn't have been in this position. I think against Illinois, that's going to be his game.
See, the problem with that is you might be right about Athan. He might have the game of his life. But overall as a team, nobody from last year's defense that blew that coverage is going to be returning this year. I mean, we'll have two starters remain. And the rest is all transfers and new guys. So it might get through to Athan. I don't know if it gets through to the defense, but I guess that's a topic for another time because this is the Athan show.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, too, Gabe, this is going to be his moment. He's going to play a complete game. And I predict a Rutgers victory that night. That's going to be a complete game. And Athan's going to have a moment of, you thought you could get one over on me? Try again.
We might get 24-27 points, but that defense...
And Iowa is going to be the catalyst. Iowa is the game where he has to show consistency, accuracy, and a total team effort to win. If they do that against Iowa, then maybe Gabe is right that they can do that against Washington, and maybe you're right, Austin, against Illinois. But Iowa is the test.
I mean, here's the issue, right? We're all on a Venn diagram, but none of our points are intersecting here. I guess the only point that's intersecting would be that Athan has to have a really good season and a few solid games to prove himself.
Agreed.
And I want to say this too. Well, that's what makes this fun is we all have difference of opinions, and no one's wrong in this scenario. Athan can go out there.
Yet. I can say that I'll go to the moon tomorrow, and you can't prove me wrong.
No.
Exactly.
You're not going to be going to the moon. I can say that for sure.
You can't prove it. What, because I don't exist? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Adam has taken over the show. Well,
no.
Gabe has been kicked off.
I want the people to see this beautiful man right here more. Because I'm on my way to the moon, baby.
Yeah. You're going to go to the moon just as you're going to go to Mars. Yeah, the only place you're going to be going is Alcatraz if they reopen it.
Hey, I mean, San Francisco is a beautiful city. I'll take a look on the plane on my way there.
No, Adam, he's going to Cancun. He's going to Cancun with his Knicks.
No, the problem with Gabe is he has 2 beers, and then he gets all loopy.
I haven't had a beer in almost a year now.
Gabe's going to have a Banner girl serving up Dr. Stormies.
Gabe. Denial is not the way to go, Gabe.
You know what? Maybe I'll enjoy some of that Mexican Mary, if you will.
And just like that, we went off the wrong track.
The kind of guy where he has a Bloody Mary and he says, "Oh, it's too strong." I mean, I'm just saying.
You know what? I'm the kind of guy that you want to bring on a night out because I'll be sober, but I'll still be fun and act like a drunk idiot.
Yeah, Gabe is fun. You got to give him credit there. He's a good dude.
Woo! But I will say this last thing I want to ask on Athan is, and this is another opinionated question, so we'll probably all go different directions. But
I look forward to
is it possible? Okay, is it possible Athan makes that leap to top 10 conversation within the Big Ten?
Yes.
I mean, I already gave my opinion.
Yes.
I said he'll be top 5 in the Big Ten.
It's going to come down to completion percentage, accuracy, and it's going to come down to the offensive line giving him time to throw and him really shining in play action and RPO. If he puts that together and he has the absolute ability to do so, the answer is yes.
I mean, you think about it, right? What's his name? I forget who else, but Drew Aller, USC's guy, UCLA's guy, Nico. Nico's going to be better, unfortunately, whether we want to admit it or not. Nico is still really, 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 really good as a quarterback despite the drama. And then Indiana's QB. Oh, Mendoza. Mendoza is probably going to be better. But besides that, I think Athan's got a really good chance. Even with whoever the hell Ohio State throws out there in Oregon, I still think that Athan has a chance to be the better quarterback than them, even if he's in the worst system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now that you mention all those names, Gabe, now that I think about it, it's not crazy to say top 5. The thing is, though, like Adam's mentioning, though, consistency. I have a hard time trusting Athan with the consistency part. And I've been watching football a long time, and I just started watching Rutgers about 3.5 years ago. Turned them on TV one day, and they were playing.
You've seen this the season before we won that bowl. You saw a pretty dark time in our history.
Yes, I just turned the TV on one day, and I was like, "Oh, Rutgers, okay," and I just started watching, and I was like, "I like Coach Schiano."
Austin, you just hit the nail on the head. That's what I've been saying. Consistency. That's going to be the name of the game. And like I said, Athan has all the tools to do that. And we support him. We love the guy, and we think he can be, awesome for Rutgers. But there are areas of improvement, and if he can make that happen, it's going to be a great year for the Scarlet guys.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm with you. Love and respect you, Athan. You're always more than welcome to be invited to any show or anything I do, and especially these two, because they're the Rutgers.
On your show before us, I'll be mad, but it's okay. I'll respect it.
No, in all seriousness, though. All respect and love to Athan. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he gets drafted to the NFL next year, but we'll have to see. I mean, the season's almost here. Season's almost here.
His ceiling is day 2 guy, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm. And Adam, to your point earlier, I want to bring this up as last laugh before I go. Gabe, I would love a Knicks and Nuggets consolation game. We'll put it in Las Vegas. We'll sell some tickets.
Let's make sure
Adam could be on the call.
Let's make sure that Carmelo Anthony and Nate Robinson are nowhere near each other.
Jalen Brunson cannot penetrate that ferocious Nuggets defense.
Wow, that sounded like a crazy sentence out of context for a little bit there.
Well, I mean, you said he's going to throw for 400 yards at Washington.
Yeah, but I didn't say anything about penetrating ferocious D.
It's the same thing. You should apologize.
Oh, my gosh.
When
did this become a rated R show?
There's an R right over there. So
see, it's getting dark where Gabe is. That's when he gets a little bit, gets a little nervous.
I see. He's a vampire. This is when Gabe's bad side comes out. Yeah.
The only thing I bite is scorching hot takes correctly.
Yeah, just like that take on Washington. I can't wait to see those 417 yards. I'll run 417 yards if you want me to.
You said you'll run for 417
I'll run for 417 yards. He's not throwing.
Are you gonna follow through with that take on like the blindfold take?
No quarterback in the country is going to go into Seattle and throw for 417 yards on a Friday.
No quarterback in the country without red hair.
See, I told you.
Listen, Gabe, I love and respect you. I will always be a supporter, but Gabe, take the dang red glasses off right now, good buddy, and look at this realistically.
It's actually called Scarlet Red, I'll have you know.
Okay, if we want to be politically correct, the Scarlet Red glasses. I appreciate your opinion on him having a breakout game against Washington, but it's not going to be what you say it is, Gabe.
That's what the W stands for. Washington W. That's what we're going to do in Seattle.
We have to help you.
Adam, this is what you deal with every week.
Yeah,
Adam's the victim.
He's so biased, and I have to deal with it every week. I am the victim.
See, poor Adam. He has to deal with this.
Does that make me the lawyer?
Let's be honest. I tell you what, Gabe. I tell you what. Here's what I'll do for you, good buddy. Here's what I'll do. If Athan throws for 400 yards, like you're saying,
417 or more.
Okay, if Athan throws for that in Washington, I will wear a Rutgers jersey live on air with you guys.
Bet. Shake on it. There you go.
Austin,
I'm that confident. Yeah, and while we're at it, we'll put Adam in one too.
Let's make a bet for if Athan throws less than 125 that week.
Okay, if Athan throws less than 125, I tell you what, Gabe, I want you to wear an Aaron Gordon Nuggets jersey on air.
Sure, I have no problems with him. If you were going to say Halliburton, I'd say F to the no. But yeah, sure, why not? I like Aaron Gordon.
Okay, deal.
Deal.
He's
And
mad
we'll
because
get-
John Starks is better than Jalen Brunson. That's why he's mad.
Here's the deal, though, Austin. If my thing happens, I'll buy you the Rutgers jersey. If your thing happens, I need that Aaron Gordon jersey.
You got yourself a deal, partner.
Sounds
You
good.
got yourself a deal.
We'll see.
And
You
Jason, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, he is right.
We just need to win. This is just for fun. This is for S's and
Yeah.
giggles. But
Yes, but we're being serious though. This is for pride though. Like,
for sure.
like, don't you worry. Like, I'm gonna write this down as soon as I get off the air here because
Also,
I
I
will
think
make
he should
sure-
apologize. I think he should say he's sorry.
You said you're sorry earlier on, and I was amazed. So if it is less than 125, I will also apologize for my negligence.
I told you I have humility too.
Well, see, Adam is a kind, gentle giant. He's that kind of person that you have to take everything he says with a grain of salt. He's rough around the edges. He's like that teddy bear you pick up in the store. He's nice and fluffy, but after he gets in the mud and stuff, it gets all dirty, and you got to put it back in the laundry
After
chute.
he's been through
And
some
then he comes
Rutgers
back.
losses.
It's called telling it like it is, Austin. I tell it like it is, even though I don't want to hear it.
But go ahead, though, Gabe. Go ahead.
He's been through those Rutgers losses. He has to be. I mean, I have too, but not for as long as he has.
That's a good point.
Listen. I'll say this: I had to witness us fall 1 yard short against Clemson in 2016 with Louisville. So
Yep.
I ain't exactly been through the Daisy Rose either, guys. I'm with you. I've witnessed a lot of things in my day too, even though we're young.
Hey, I'm only 49. I still got a few years left in me.
Well, Gabe, he's only 20. Like, he
25.
hadn't even hit the. Yeah, and Adam,
Years
he's only
old?
31.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
25 years old.
Years young.
Yeah, he's years young.
Isn't that
He can
obnoxious?
still play in the
People that say
NBA.
Years young.
Yeah. And you know what? Take those 25 years and go run 417 yards right now. Tell us how you feel after you do it.
Yeah, Gabe. When you come back, make sure you're ready to do the show again because it'll be next Monday when you're done.
Yeah, I'm here in Cancun. I'll say hi to Brunson. I'll say hi to Nikola Jokic.
Okay, listen here, Adam. I don't mean to start anything because I know we got to get going, but I got to teach this young man a lesson real fast.
Hey,
Listen
I
here,
said hi to
Gabe.
Brunson too, though.
Listen here, Mr. Gabriel.
You know
I'm going
my
to use your
fault?
government. Listen, Gabe. Much love and respect will always support
Always.
you, but don't you dare mention Brunson and Jokic in the same sentence.
That's
Jokic
right.
is
Only
a
one
winner
of
and
them
a
was Clutch
champion.
Player of the Year.
See, listen here. Only one of them got robbed of the MVP. I don't see Brunson sniffing the MVP, buddy, old pal. Jokic is a champion, a Finals MVP, and the
Mhm.
greatest center to ever do it.
Yeah, and he still doesn't
Enough
have the
said.
Pope on his side.
Listen. We
This is
can't
what
help
you
with
call-
that
This is what you
flopper.
call rage baiting. I love Nikola Jokic.
Well, listen, Gabe, listen. After your disgraceful comments, this is just terrible. Thank you, Adam.
Also,
We had to
Jason,
restore
it's
some more.
funny you say that.
Gabe,
We
you're
had a
officially
show-
kicked off.
We had a show talking about that 06 Rutgers team and how they correlated to the 24 Rutgers team. It should be like a month ago, a month and a half. Time is irrelevant at this point because every
Yes.
week it feels like we talk about the same three things. But that was a funny segment. Yo,
Yes.
don't look at the comments.
Jokic is a drunk. I mean, he does like his beers. Don't get me wrong, but who doesn't love a little fun every now and then? I'm sure you, Gabe, since you're a vampire, you have internal fun. Me
Like
and
I
Adam,
said, I haven't
we're on
drank in a
borrowed
year.
time.
I have not drank in a year.
We're going to help
And,
you.
and listen, yes, we are. I mean, well, he does have Buffy the Vampire Slayer on his side, but sometimes that's not even enough.
You know what, Adam? If Mr. Athan goes for that 417, I will have a celebratory beer.
And I will pay you $100.
Thank you. All right, let's get it.
Okay. Well,
Venmo.
well,
Why not? Add it to the list.
I'll drive 417 miles before he's going to throw for no quarterback in the
Yeah,
country
you
is going
will.
to do that on the road against the Huskies.
If you
Come
don't
on.
drive 417 miles between now and the game against Washington, I'd be concerned.
I'll walk to Seattle. I'll get there by the time the game is, and he's not going to throw 417 yards. You should apologize.
I think we got to wrap it up here. It's getting pretty dark.
But yeah, I appreciate you all as always. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Thank you, Austin.
And always, Gabe, make sure you don't get burnt. Always fun.
Thanks, Austin.
Make sure not to get burnt.
All right. So that's our good friend Austin coming on the show. Always great to speak with Austin. Awesome comments. And Gabe, great show. You know, any final thoughts?
I feel like I have a Broadway stage light on me right now, and I just want to take this moment to say, Athan, my good old buddy Adam was wrong about you, but it's okay. He expressed it, and we're willing to move on if you are, and we'd love to have you on this show next week, week after, hell, after our 417-yard performance against Washington, whenever.
Athan, we're rooting for you this year. You got special talent, and you could be something special this year. We hope it happens for you, and we'll be behind you every step of the way.
Go Scarlet Knights.
Go Scarlet Knights. So, everybody, if you like the show, please hit that like and subscribe button. Always welcome your comments. We'll be back here next Monday at 7 p.m. for another show. Always great seeing everybody. And, of course, my fantastic co-host, Gabriel Pickup, will be back with his updates next week. Go Scarlet Knights. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.